Back here on Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube page. Really appreciate everybody being a part of our new community for Locked On Sports Atlanta. Give us a review. Tell us what you think about the show. Leave a comment. And, of course, follow me on my Twitter page. You can catch up with me at JMCH316. Well, if you can believe it, the Atlanta Braves actually had a day off yesterday. So their first day off of the season after 14 straight games. Braves obviously sitting at 6-8 currently, 4 games out of first place in the NL East. No real worries or concerns there. I mean, at this early in the year, you can't really get hung up about 14 games. It is interesting that the Braves are a minus 14 on the season as far as run differential goes. But the Atlanta Braves coming back home start a series tonight against the Miami Marlins. So over the next 9 games, before they end up going up to Gotham to take on the New York Mets, the division-leading New York Mets, who are sitting at 10-4, the Braves will play 3 against the Marlins at home. They will play 3 against the Chicago Cubs at home, and then they will head down to the state of Texas, and they will take on the Texas Rangers for 3 games. And then after that, they hit the road, and they go up to Gotham and take on the Mets. But that 9-game stretch that is coming up here, those 3 teams, the Marlins, Cubs, Rangers, are a combined 14-23 on the season. Rangers are 3-9. They're one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the American League. Marlins, of course, are not very good. They're 5-7. Cubs are and probably not all that good. They've lost 3 in a row. They're at 6-7 right now. So this is a stretch. And one of the things that I love about baseball is you look at blocks of games where a team has a schedule that's favorable, difficult, whatever. You can really take baseball into blocks before something else happens. What do I mean by that is you have 9 games against 3 bad teams before you take on the division leader, right? So you have a chance to take this stretch. So it kind of you kind of microcosm the season into smaller blocks and things like that. Well, this is an important 9-game stretch for a team that has been up and down, and you've played San Diego and you've played the Dodgers, and one night your pitcher goes out with 5 innings and no runs. The next night your pitcher goes out with 5 innings and 5 runs. And that pattern just keeps going. And we're stretched out. We're not stretched out. We're loving, we're touching, we're whatever we're doing out there with all this stuff. But right now, the Braves have been a very average baseball team. There's been some good things, been some not so good things out there. But this is a stretch for the Braves to get healthy. Combination of 6 of 9 at home, and the road games the first series of road games that you go on are literally against maybe the worst team in the American League or in Major League Baseball. They're certainly one of the bottom feeders in the Texas Rangers. So you have to make some hay here. And when we talk about these little stretches, before you head up to New York, this should be a 9-game stretch where the Braves really get right. I'm talking about 7-2 right. I don't want to hear about 5-4. I don't want to hear about, this happened or that happened and going. No, these are the Miami Marlins stink. Let's call it like it is, right? They bring over Jorge Soler. He's hitting $147. Okay. I mean, you know that they're not very good. They're in free fall mode. It's funny. 5 years ago, go look at that Marlins roster. If I told you 5 years ago, you'd have a team in the National League that would have Christian Yelich, Marcell Ozuna, JT Realmuto, D. Gordon, all these guys out there. Giancarlo Stanton was on that team. Remember that team? That was the Miami Marlins. Literally 5 years ago, that was the Miami Marlins. And look where they are now. They're a glorified AAA team with what they've got going on. And a piece here and a piece there and all that kind of stuff. The Cubs are in free fall mode. They are in rebuild mode. Rizzo's gone. Brian is gone. Lester's gone. All those pieces that were part of their World Series championship team, by and large, from a few years ago, Schwarber gone. There's a piece here and a piece there. But by and large, that team is gone. So they're in sort of rebuild, free fall. We're not spending a whole crap ton of cash type of mode. We're rebuilding. The Rangers, I don't know what the hell the Rangers are. The Rangers are always in rebuild mode. I mean, the Rangers are always sort of a second fiddle down there. I don't know what they're doing or whatever like that. They bring in Seager, they pay him, a gobsmack of money or whatever like that, and they're still not very good. So the Braves really have to get right. They have to get their starting pitching, to get more consistent. Now, Austin Riley will be back tonight. He's coming off the paternity leave. Congratulations to him and his wife on their new addition to the family. We also got word yesterday that Sean Newcomb has been dealt in exchange for an old familiar face, Jesse Chavez, who is 38 years old, and that's only what he tells you. I think really he's probably 73, and just they don't know how to really track it or whatever. But so Jesse Chavez, okay, fine, whatever, who cares? I mean, but the Braves have to get healthy now, and it's a combination of, number one is they have to start getting consistent in their starting pitching. And that means, honestly, Fried, Morton, Anderson. Because all three of those guys have had up, down, Dow Jones kind of stuff. And I understand, and we're, guys didn't get stretched out in spring, and we didn't have an extended spring training, and this and that. Okay, well, you're 8 days away from going back to 26-man rosters and being past some of this. Now is the time to start getting this thing figured out. Morton threw 95 pitches the other day. So he's stretched out. Okay, with all due respect, he's stretched out, ready to go. They need to get some consistent starting pitching. The other part is they have to get consistent in their offense. The top of the order with Matt Olson especially has been fantastic. Now, I would expect that we will see sooner rather than later Ronald Acuna Jr. come back and be a part of this lineup. How they use him, where he hits, well, I shouldn't say where he hits, but where he plays, how all that is figured out, we'll have to see how Snitker and the medical staff think that he's coming along and all that kind of stuff. But their lineup has had some good things at the very top of the order. They just have not had enough consistency through the rest of the lineup to kind of put a string of hits together and drive in enough runs. Hence, and again, as I said, this is kind of a crazy stat when you think about the Braves offense. Just they're a minus 14 on the season. I wouldn't have expected, even with some bad pitching, okay, because everybody's going to have some bad pitching. I mean, that's not unique to the Braves or anything like that. And certainly the Braves, have some quality starters, but they just haven't gotten enough consistency out of some guys. Now, Matt Olson has been outstanding, but you look, because of him hitting at the top of the order, he's got 20 hits. He's hitting 400. He's got a .516 on base percentage, a .640 slugging. But he has 2 homers and 2 RBI on the season. And he's got 12 walks, by the way, which is almost twice as many as anybody else on the club. So he's doing his job, but because he's not in a run-producing role, you're not taking advantage of the kinds of numbers that he's putting up right now. And they're not getting terrible. I mean, look, having Riley back, that's a big help. He's at 292 on the season. Ozuna's off to a good start. He's at 291 on the season. But they've got to get some of these other guys that are toward the bottom of their order. Darno's off to a good start. He's at 297. But Ozzy's kind of struggled coming out of the gate. Obviously, Dansby has really struggled coming out of the gate. He's got 22 strikeouts and 53 at-bats. 22 strikeouts and 49 at-bats. 53 plate appearances, but 22 strikeouts in 49 at-bats on the season. So they've got to get more consistent up and down their lineup offensively the way that we thought that this thing would look. You can say lineups aren't stretched out or spread. I don't really want to hear that. Because, again, everybody is dealing with the same things across Major League Baseball. The Mets are dealing with the same thing. The Dodgers have dealt with the same thing, right? Everybody's dealing with the same thing. So the Braves weren't unique. They didn't make the Braves not play, spring training the way that everybody else did. But this is a stretch with these 3 teams, 6 at home, 3 on the road, that before you go up to Gotham, Braves need to be 7-2 and get this ship turned around, and let's get this thing figured out. And then we go up to New York and let's, bombs away and see what happens up there. All right, when we get back on Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, we're going to talk about Mike Tyson, who helped a guy collect his stupid tax the other day. I don't know what the hell is wrong with people in today's world. It is Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.